The rain, that eternal mourner of the poor, had only just ceased its lament upon the city's crooked stones. Puddles, like broken mirrors of the sky, lay scattered across the street. And into these shallow abysses stepped a boy of 16, whose shoes, if such tattered leather could still deserve that name, were pierced and weary as his soul. With every stride, water welled up through the holes in the soles, and he felt, as though destiny itself mocked him, the cold kiss of misery upon his feet. His name was Armand. That morning he had walked toward a small workshop on the edge of the city, where the smell of wood and the echo of hammering promised work, meager work, but work nonetheless. Before the master carpenter, a man whose eyes bore the fatigue of life's cruel arithmetic, the boy stood and pleaded for a place. "Do you have experience, lad?" asked the man. "No," replied Armand, "but I can learn." The man's eyes fell, inevitably, upon the ruined footwear. He said no more than, "We have enough hands. If needed, we shall call you." It was the gentlest mask of refusal, yet it struck Armand harder than a whip. He left, walking as one already condemned. But fate, which often wears the mask of temptation, led his eyes to a shop window where shoes, radiant, gleaming, magnificent in their simplicity, stood like soldiers awaiting a parade. He drew near, and in the cruel reflection of the glass, he beheld himself, thin, pale, a youth whose eyes had already tasted age. At that very instant, the merchant stepped out, leaving the door ajar. Armand's heart thundered like a drum of war. His hand, a traitor to me's conscience, stretched forward. In a single desperate motion, he seized a pair of shining shoes. "Hey, boy!" cried the merchant. Armand fled, through streets trembling with noise, through horns and curses, through a labyrinth of shadows. At last, panting, he concealed himself behind a heap of refuse, clutching the shoes to his chest as though they were not leather, but salvation itself. That night, in the dim light of a single lamp, his mother saw what he carried. Tears, more eloquent than words, welled in her eyes. "Armand," she whispered, "we are poor, but we are not thieves." Her words were daggers, each syllable pierced deeper than hunger ever had. The boy could not meet her gaze. He felt a darkness within him, the shame not of having nothing, but of having betrayed the dignity that nothingness demands. And yet, when the morning came, he laced the stolen shoes upon his feet and returned to the workshop. This time, the carpenter glanced at him differently. The shoes, polished and whole, lent the boy a presence he had not possessed the day before. Without questions, without suspicion, the man accepted him. Days passed, weeks. Armand's hands, once frail, grew strong with labor. The wood bent to his will, and the rhythm of toil became the hymn of his existence. At the end of the month, he received his first wages. The coins burned in his pocket, not with greed, but with remembrance. With trembling resolve, Armand walked back to the shop where his crime had been born. The same window stood, reflecting a boy who no longer looked quite so broken. He entered, placed the shoes, now worn by honest labor, on the counter, and with them the money he had earned. "Sir," he said, his voice quivering but firm, "I took these from you. I had no right. Now I return them, and I wish to pay their due." The merchant stared at him. Anger rose in his face, then faltered when he looked into the boy's eyes. Eyes not of the thief,
but of a child wrestling with the chains of destiny. Slowly, almost solemnly, the man took the money. He uttered only this, "Go, lad. Go and be a man." Armand stepped outside. As though the heavens themselves sought to baptize his rebirth, the rain began again, heavy, ceaseless, merciless. His shoes were soaked, but they no longer carried the holes of despair. They carried instead the weight of dignity, which is heavier than poverty, but nobler than gold. And thus, in the storm, a boy walked not merely into the future, but into manhood.